Well, we're here again at the Chill Experience, the Chill Podcast. As always, Chill, Jill, and Chad have very big smiles. Now, we didn't start out the day with big smiles because you have to wake up and you have to go through your morning routine. But man, in the afternoon, we're ready to go, and here we are.
I think I'm smiling this morning. You weren't smiling this morning?
I was smiling this morning, but it was a little cold. We're in Chicago. Not everybody knows that.
Right.
But we were in Chicago. It was a little cold, a little overcast. But
Yeah.
we overcame because what you don't see behind me is 3 or 4 deer that are moseying around and eating and drinking and doing. And it's pretty cool to watch. And that puts a smile on your face.
That's nice. That's nice. I thought the yoga I put you through this morning put a smile on your face.
Well, we did hard yoga. We had to turn and twist and stretch and lean.
I don't think it was hard today.
Well, that's because
It
you're a
was
yogi.
yesterday. You know, it was hard for you when I turned on Fit On and we did our weights. I think you struggled a little bit with the weights today.
Maybe because my back hurts a little bit. And that's because it was tweaked.
You tweaked it.
Now, there's a difference between tweaking and what happened to you a couple weeks ago where...
Right before we were flying the next day.
And I actually thought we might not be leaving.
Let me tell you, I thought we wouldn't be leaving. That was the strangest thing ever. Just out of nowhere, lower back pain, which I never get.
But you got it that day.
That evening as I was packing. So I don't know what happened, but it's gone, so let's not even talk about it.
But if you don't talk about it, then we don't know why. And if I was going to suggest why, I would say that, ow, that hurt. I just leaned up and did a full balance on my back and that like hurt. And maybe it's because there's stress, there's universal pressures on our back, and it's a signal that we need to take more time and more rest and more playtime.
So are you saying that right before we go on a trip, you're going to do all the packing?
No, I am not going to do all the packing. As a matter of fact, it's hard enough for me just to pack for myself.
Because you don't. But you don't.
That's true. And that's a constant theme we have. I think you like the fact that you pack for me and that it becomes a constant theme in the Chill Podcast.
Oh, that I pack the suitcases.
Which I put the covers on the suitcases and then I zip them because we have suitcase covers because we don't want our suitcases to get damaged.
Usually I put the covers on. This time you had to because my back was seriously hurting. But we digress. Anyhow.
And we did digress, but we did get out of town. Now, I just want everyone to know that we travel to get out of the cold and to enjoy conferences or opportunities that are outside of Illinois. And then we also get to enjoy the weather and the experiences of being in other places.
Right. And family and friends. So this trip was family and friends, which was great. We did West Coast, East Coast.
Yeah. So share with us, if you will, a couple of the highlights about how we travel and why we enjoy traveling together.
Well, we enjoy traveling together because it's very easy when we travel. You've taught me to be just in the moment. I don't have to worry about if the plane's delayed or we don't take off or, oh, this trip, actually the last flight was the old, this is your pilot, the weather's bad in Chicago, so we can't land, so we're going to be an extra hour. Now, it's different when you hear that when you're on the ground, but when you're up in the air and they say it's going to be an extra hour, it's like, what does that mean?
For me, it meant that I got to read for another hour.
To me, it meant I had another hour of panic. But the nice thing was, what did he say? We do have enough fuel. I was like, oh, wow, that's a positive. We have enough fuel.
That's true.
And then I texted one of my sons and said, could you see me right now? Meaning on Find My Friends. He says, yeah. I said, where am I? He said, you're south of St. Louis. So think about, well, you don't really know geography, but I do. So I thought, wow, from Florida coming to Chicago, we're down by south of St. Louis. That was a little bit odd. But we did make it home and very, very little turbulence, which I was expecting, wow, we're going to have an hour of extra turbulence.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid of turbulence because I've talked to enough pilots who talk about turbulence being like waves in the air and that the plane kind of just flies through it.
Okay.
So when we're where we're going and the weather is bad or frightful, we found ways to be able to occupy our time between activities. So Al, as an example, we found time to walk.
Yes.
in some cases you play pickleball.
Yes.
In some cases you get to meet up with friends.
Yep.
And laugh and have fun.
Oh, we laughed.
And so, different than in our past, what do you think is allowing us to be able to laugh to the point where your jaw hurts and your belly hurts? Like, what's going on right now? Because I'm working with a lot of people that are not finding happiness or joy in their life. They're finding a lot of negativity, a lot of frustration, and a lot of angry people.
All right. Well, first off, I think we are living in a time that is unlike any other time we've ever experienced. Now, the world has had shifts. We've had good times, bad times. You can go all the way back to as long as they track. There's been times of war, times of peace. Things go up and down. But right now seems to be the oddest time that we've ever experienced. So we come off of COVID, we're post-COVID, and now it is just a complete, it's almost like, wait, is this really happening? What the hell is really going on? And I think people are getting, and rightfully so, getting caught up in some of these things because they're frightening and they're the unknowns. And we don't know where this is all going to end up. But I think we have to say, and this is probably through meditation and yoga, that we have zero control of anything other than ourselves.
So if we have zero control of anything but ourselves, and we know that there's a lot of outside influences that are really pressing down on us,
right?
What I find and what I practice is just kind of being in the moment.
Right.
And really just observing and watching how things unfold.
Right.
And kind of just controlling the things that I can control.
Right.
And having empathy for those people that are struggling.
Yes.
And having conversation with them so that they could know that there's other people out there that align with them, but also that the pain that they're feeling is their pain.
And it's very real.
And that they have to figure out and work on how to overcome that.
Right.
Because I think that if you choose not to want to live in your pain, that we have to figure out how to be able to do that. And through meditation, through friends, through walking, working out, eating healthy.
I mean, things are going to happen as they're going to happen. You can call it fate. You can call it your destiny. I mean, I don't know what causes things sometimes. So I had like one of my weird Dateline type days today. You want to hear?
Well, you could share with me.
So you were talking about laughter.
Dateline is something we talk about often.
Right.
And I know that people are watching the podcast, and please put in the comments, because there's a lot of people that watch Dateline and then watch the Chill Experience.
All right, so today, and I believe in, I forgot to grab this, so I go back in the house, as opposed to, no, I'm just going to leave. Because, they say that second of, I should have, and then something happens. So if I forget something, I go back in the house, and I had to do that today. Then I'm pulling out of our garage, and I look on the doorstep, and I see, there's a box. I wasn't expecting anything. So I get out of the car, grab the box, and I put it on the seat. And I look at the label, and I'm like, I didn't order anything from Staples. Like, that's weird. So I'm driving through our neighborhood, and all of a sudden I say, this is one of those boxes that's like a scam box. There's fentanyl in the box. So I shake the box a little bit, and I hear something kind of sliding. And I'm thinking, I don't think I want to open it. And maybe I better drive really carefully, because what if it's a BOMB?
Well, I think Jill just plays with her own mind because her life is pretty static and pretty straight, that this is her way to give a little bit of excitement to a life that is actually relatively boring.
Okay, I wouldn't say it's boring. But in any case, so I go on my way, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm driving like kind of carefully, thinking don't bounce, looking at the box. Yeah. And then I say, all right, by the time I get to the office, after I do my errands, I'm going to bring it in the office. Maybe I'll take it out in the back, because what if it's something? What if it's got something in it, right? So I come in here, I put it on your table, and he said, all right, there's something weird in this box. I didn't order it, and you didn't order anything, right?
No.
So I slice it open. You, of course, leave the office because you're not here to see
I'm not a big Dateline person, by the way.
I open it, and we look at the box, and it says Peter Pan, and then it says Tinkerbell, and at that point, I lost it with laughter, because I knew exactly who sent it.
Yep.
Sister. Because of a whole thing that we had while we were together in Florida about a collection, and somehow Tinkerbell ended up with the Disney princesses, and Tinkerbell is not a Disney princess. So we're like, how did she end up in there? And I don't know why that made us laugh, but it definitely made us laugh to the point of hurts your sides kind of laughing.
Well, I just think it's phenomenal that you're able to do that.
Yeah.
You find laughter and then you have fun with it.
Yeah.
You have a sister that you could play and do that with, where you're able to laugh together and continue that experience.
So then I texted OMG, and she called me and she was already laughing because she knew exactly what the OMG was. Not, oh my God, is everything okay? Just laughing because she knew.
Yeah.
And she's like, it just came up on my feed and I had to send it to you.
So in our
now I have
family,
Tinkerbell.
there's some new births, right? And you're really excited about
I'm
that.
very excited. We have a new, so 2 days in a row. So my cousin, who's like a niece daughter to me, had a beautiful little boy on the 30th, and he is just beautiful. And then my very dearest best friend from college, her daughter had a baby yesterday, another boy. So we have 2 beautiful boys, and really excited about that. Excited for the new moms because they're 2 of my favorite ladies, young ladies ever. I love them both dearly. I loved them at their weddings. I loved how kind and loving and sweet they are. So yeah, I'm really excited for them.
So what kind of advice do you give a new parent in the world that we're living in today? Because I think that they actually have both reached out to you and said, what is some advice that you could give me as a new parent? And how do I raise my kids to be just incredibly delightful and loving?
Well, it's interesting because I have had discussion about that because we were with my cousin, as you know, when we were in Palm Springs.
Hence, which is why I brought it up as part of our conversation.
You're so good. Well, I said, you can't fret over the mistakes.
Yeah.
Always, I love you, hugs and love. And you just need to let your kids be who they want to be without forcing them to be something that you want them to be.
Okay.
I think a lot of parents want, you have to be this, and you have to do this, and you have to go here, and you have to be with this group. And maybe the kid you have birthed doesn't want to be that type of person.
And what kind of risk do you tell them to take, right? So as we're parents and as we're growing up and as we go through life, we have to take different levels of risk. So do you encourage a lot of risk, minimal risk? What are your thoughts around like that for parents?
What kind of risk?
Well, parental risk, right? Do they get to go out and play? I think just a day or 2 ago, we watched 2 10-year-olds cross a busy street. I looked at you and I said, that's insane.
Right, because we were in the city on our way downtown.
And they're just walking around waving at the cars like, thanks for waiting.
Right.
And I'm like, they're like 10 years old.
Yeah. It's very different now. Obviously, we look at, I look at a lot of stuff online. Like if you remember, if this was you in the 80s, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was me, that was me,
I used to hitchhike.
Well, I did once. But I was not.
I used to like shoplift a little bit because I wasn't afraid of getting caught. Turns out you get caught pretty quick. I don't recommend it.
You could probably shoplift now and they wouldn't even care.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that probably hasn't changed, right?
Well, they made it easier.
All right, but hitchhiking, would never say, oh yeah, it's fine. Like scary man, scary trucker guy, scary yucky guys, or yucky girl. I mean, there's yucky guy, yucky girl. So no, I don't condone hitchhiking. But as far as risk taking, again, I think it's a very different world. There's just weirdo city out there. And now being, a grandma a couple times and an aunt, many times, a great aunt. No, I don't want the kids to just be out there. And maybe that's bad, because it was nice when you could go ride your bike or you could go to the park. But I'm sorry to say there's just a different element of people out there. So
we took our time with traveling and doing and getting through March, and now it's April 1st.
Fools. April Fools.
Now, I don't have an April Fool's joke other than...
I don't believe in April Fools because this whole
You don't
year has
believe
been
in
a
it.
foolish
It kind of has.
day. Every day's like April Fools. Like,
But
really?
Today, looking forward, I'm looking forward to more yoga,
Good.
more working out, more tennis, pickle, racquetball. I think right now we're eating healthy.
Yep.
Which, I don't know that anyone eats healthy all the time. We saw Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, and Anderson Cooper is very thin.
Yes.
And what he said is just food's not important to him. And yet food's not
Andy's thin
important
too.
to me,
Andy's thin too.
but I eat all the time.
Okay.
And
Food actually is important to you.
it is important
It is
to
important
me.
to you.
but how do we get it to be not so important? And if anyone has any ideas of how to make food not so important, please put it in the comments.
All right, there is a red bird out there right now. It's beautiful. I just happened to see it up in the tree.
Okay.
I think it's our state bird. Look at how beautiful.
Well,
I wish
it's
we could
very nice,
show that.
but,
It's lovely.
but we can't. So
No.
just, again,
Okay,
go on
let's-
your phone and look up a red bird and you'll
A cardinal.
see it.
I think
A
it's called a
cardinal.
cardinal.
Yeah, I'm sure
Thank
it
you.
is.
It's a cardinal. We're in Illinois. It's our state bird.
Yeah.
Here's the advice I will give you for food. When we're getting ready to go upstairs, and you say, and I hear the refrigerator door open, and I
You
say,
do. I
close
never
the
think you
refrigerator
hear.
door.
Yeah.
That means like we're done. You got to stop eating.
Okay.
Just stop. Have a sip of water. Have some tea. Be done. I think you struggle with being done.
I do.
And maybe as a child, were you deprived food?
I wasn't deprived food, but I was offered a lot of food.
Is that what it was?
So, like when we were kids, I had macaroni and cheese. I had the family box. But sometimes, because you eat it fast, you're not full. So you would make a second family box. And then, because you're bored and you're at home and they don't have social media, you would make popcorn.
Well, we know you're a popcornaholic.
So I definitely put on the calories as a kid, eating foods that were there, but they weren't necessarily healthy foods.
But you know, we talked about food, and I asked you when we were eating, I don't know what night it was, I said, did your parents make you finish everything on your plate?
I'm going to go with that we ate everything on our plate. I'm not sure they forced us. I mean, I'm a person of relative largeness, and when there's food on the plate, I definitely wasn't a fan of leaving it.
See, my parents, they made us finish what's on our plate, even if we didn't like it. And I don't like that. I'm going to give them a ding for that.
I'm going to say I grew up with stewed tomatoes and beets, and today I'm not a huge fan of stewed tomatoes or beets.
Really?
No.
See, I love beets. They're very good. I didn't eat beets.
I said I'm not a huge fan. I didn't say I don't eat them.
Well, I mean, I know the foods that I absolutely despise and will never eat, and we have those in common. But they never forced me to eat food I didn't like other than meatloaf. But do you know my meatloaf story?
No,
Okay.
well, I might know the meatloaf
Okay.
story, but I'm going to let you retell it because you have an audience of thousands of people that want to hear it.
So the meatloaf on the plate, despise meatloaf. Like, could not stand it. So I would have to sit there with my plate, and I would take the meatloaf, wrap it in a napkin, go to the bathroom, flush it down the toilet, go back to my plate. Why the plumbing never backed up? I never, like the toilet never clogged or backed up. And I was literally taking napkins and flushing them down the toilet with my meatloaf.
You have a special toilet with special plumbing that
But
didn't
you know
allow
what?
for
Maybe
that.
plumbing was better back then.
Well, everything might have been better.
Everything was better back then.
But what's your favorite thing that was better back then? Would it have been the black and white TV?
Oh my God.
The 19-inch TV? Because it was kind of cool when they came out with TVs like the one behind you, where they have
I
HD4.
did not like TVs better then because we did not have the remote for a long time. So my little sister was the remote. I'd be like, come here. What? Go change the station. She was my remote,
I see.
which I kid her about today. And I think that makes her laugh. It makes me laugh. But she was so good about it. So no, the TV was not something I miss. What did I love more? I love the quality of things. Refrigerators were better. Washer and dryers were better. Everything was made better.
To last longer.
They last longer. You know what I also think was done better, which is why I'm loving or not loving flying so much? I think airplane maintenance was better back in the day.
Well, we don't know.
Well,
Because there's
don't
people out there that work
recall.
hard on the airplanes.
yeah, but I don't recall so many incidents happening on planes like they are now.
No, I think you read AA.com and United.com in the Twitter feeds, so you're going to see some of that.
Don't forget Delta because their engine just exploded.
And Air Canada had an issue the other day, but that was because of the fire truck.
Well, that I think was because of the air traffic controller who was doing the job, two of them doing the job of four, and that's a problem.
That's true.
But I don't want to get into that
No,
whole
let's
thing
shift
because,
gears and talk about on the way here today.
Yeah.
You had to get air in your tire.
Oh my God, that was like another thing.
And why is that a thing?
Because I'm very logistic oriented, just based
Through
on my
UPS,
background.
28
That's right.
years.
That's right. So I'm running my errands. I'm coming back around, and all of a sudden the tire, my passenger side rear tire goes on, then I need air. I'm like, okay, it's the box. Something's definitely going on. I got the box. It's got fentanyl. It's got something in there. And now the tire. So I'm really like, so I get to our station where we go for our car washes, like as many as we want a day.
Right? It's a new addiction of mine. I think
Waterway.
everyone should have the subscription to a car wash.
A membership.
It's very therapeutic.
Yes.
And it's very reasonable if you go quite a bit, which we do.
If there's a Waterway in your area, highly recommend. They're the nicest. They're philanthropic. I love.
Yeah, hashtag Waterway.
Hashtag Waterway. So I pull into Waterway, and there's somebody at the air pump, of course. So I'm waiting and I'm waiting. Guy pulls away. I pull up, and it says service. The button says service. So maybe this is like a message for Waterway. The button says like I don't know if it's a call service, but it said service. So I'm thinking if I push it, someone's going to come running out to like give me service. So I'm putting the thing on my tire and leaning in, looking, and it was 3. Okay, now it's 4, and I'm like, put it on again. Eventually it gets to -7. So I'm like, So I thought, I'm going to have to call for service because I obviously don't know what I'm doing. Well, I hit the service button, and you know what happened? The air went on. You actually have to turn it on. So I think the switch should say on and off.
You know what? That reminds me
You did
of
the same thing?
mislabeled things
It was totally mislabeled.
that when you do the thing that it says, it's the wrong label
Yeah.
for what you need to do.
Yeah.
And once in a while, that could actually be costly or painful.
Yeah. I think it should say on and off.
Yes.
So,
yes.
as it's like
Sometimes.
lowering, and all, like now
Yes,
in
on and off.
-7.
On and off.
So I start reading, I don't have my glasses, so I'm reading, and it says, all right, the little thing's gonna pop out. And I'm thinking, don't I have a tire gauge in my car, and I don't wanna look for it because it's actually chilly out. And I'm looking, and I'm like, screw it. Push the button, and now the machine's on. I'm like, oh, duh. So now I put the gauge on, and of course now my tire's filled. And I got 35 PSI in there, which I think is a little too much, but I'm not touching it.
No, I think you could go up to 36 PSI.
Oh, well, I'm 35, 32, and like 229s in the front, but whatever.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would like it labeled properly. And then I was like, all right, now I'm going to just go get a car wash and leave.
So do you know what's really fun about this, the chill experience?
What?
Is that there was a time when people said you need to prepare, you need to have a script, you need to practice. And then one day it occurred to me through a gentleman named Steve Yastro, if you're watching, ditch the pitch.
Ditch the pitch?
He wrote an entire book on that. And I'm a huge fan of speaking what's on your mind and not worrying about the script and being authentic about what's on your mind
Yeah.
to get where you want to go. And I'm really enjoying this conversation we're having today
Yeah.
because it's free flow about stuff that's going on that people could care about, people could relate to, but there's no pitch.
No. You know what's funny?
What?
Is we try to go, what do we try to go, like half an hour?
We don't try. We absolutely go a half
we
hour.
go a half an hour. And when we started, we both, like, what are we going to talk about today? Had really not a clue what we're going to talk about. And I'm laughing now because I'm thinking about you saying the Jill channel. Like,
Oh, when she's going, she's going. She could fill up an hour.
the channel.
Because it is. It's like a radio channel. You have a lot of words to get out.
And you don't?
Not as many. The other thing that we're going to talk about is the weighted vest in our morning walks. Will you share, A, the weight that you use, and then also how it makes you feel?
All right, so we decided when we came back from our umpteenth vacation for
Trip.
this year, which it's been over 3 months of traveling because we started in December, right? Skiing and running and going and doing and living. So I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to eat in. We're not going to go out for dinner. We're going to cut back on, fruity alcohol drinks and that type of thing, which is fine because we don't
Just
really
pure
drink
vodka
much.
and soda now.
Right. If we have
Much
a drink. Maybe a glass of wine. Anyhow, I got a weighted vest a while back because you have a weighted vest. So mine is 16 pounds and yours is
30
pounds. All right, well, you're a little bigger than me. But I'm going to tell you, lugging around 16 pounds is a lot of weight. And we walk the entire neighborhood one time because then you have to go to work. and I have to do my thing. By the time we're like halfway, I start to feel it. But I have read that walking with a weighted vest is actually really good. It holds your core, kind of forces your posture, because I see as you get older, people start to hunch over and shoulders start to come in, and you don't want that, because as we get older, if we're down here walking, that's going to be a problem. I want to be able to stand up straight for as long as we can and walk. So yeah, I like the walk, and I love the weighted vest. I recommend it.
And so with that, I love the idea and talk about the word persistence.
Yes.
So when it comes to life and opportunity and success, I think persistence
Pays off.
and consistency in life.
Yes.
And so I say that because when I'm out of town, I'm still consistent and persistent in when I get relationship calls or people that need me or would like me. So within minutes, I'm able to have that conversation in that community. And I'm also really persistent in the fact that we need to reach out and communicate with those people that need our guidance, need our help, or need our time.
Support.
And what I find is I talk to a lot of people today that there's a lot of people that don't operate that way. There's a lot of people that don't return phone calls, a lot of people that are not consistent, they don't have good answers, and they don't follow through. I'm always really confused by that, because in my world, I feel operated in a way of showing up.
Well, as I've always said, I think you're unique, and I think you're special in a really positive way, because you do all those things.
But I think you're unique in that when we talked about kind of like how similar we are, when you're at UPS and somebody had an issue, which you still help people today, you're the one that follows through. But yet when you reach out to other managers, they have a tendency to not respond or not communicate.
However, with this latest issue that occurred while we were gone, and it was weird, someone that I know, actually from college, contacted me through what is the Facebook thing? The
Facebook Messenger.
Said, can you help? Now, I've been retired. It'll be 6 years this month. End of this month is 6 years. And I said, sure. So I started reaching out, and I actually email our CEO, because she has responded to me before. I don't know if she's actually responded this time, but then I reached out to a young lady who I mentored and pulled into my department. She worked for me, and she's amazing and awesome and just fabulous in every way. And it was her birthday yesterday. So I wished her happy birthday, and I'm like, hey, so this is what's going on. And of course, she jumped right on it and said she'll do what she can to help. So we're trying to help these people with an issue they're having.
Yeah.
Because it still matters to me. You know, once you work at a company for half of your life, I think it becomes part of who you are. And I want to help these people.
So it's nice because you showed up and you were persistent and consistent.
And I'm still working on it.
I have this pendulum here, and I've had it for a long time, and we have a few more minutes.
Yeah.
And I just love the idea that you could use the pendulum to ask questions. And so let's ask it a question. So the question that I have today is the chill experience going to be a really great show today? And are we going to get a lot of viewers? And do you see how the pendulum goes around and around and around? That means yes.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting about a pendulum and the questions I ask is I don't think that I've ever seen it do anything other than go around. So if any of you are out there
you think if I hold
with
it?
pendulum expertise, I would like you to share with us what I'm doing right or wrong.
Okay.
So
I'm going to hold it because I'm a very steady hand.
So ask the question, is the chill experience going to be great today?
All right, now I am literally not moving my hand at all. And there it goes.
And so we have energy that comes through our body and into the universe through the pendulum or through the air, and it gives us this type of interaction. So I would recommend that for the next show that everybody gets pendulums and that we do this together. And now what's interesting is yours is really like a little circle.
Okay. But
mine was a big circle.
And I'm really holding mine still. Now, there it goes. There it goes.
Because you're becoming even more impassioned and more flavorful around it. So there we have it. That's our pendulum talk for today. Peace out. The Chill Experience. We will see you again next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Until then,